Hello, everybody, and welcome to my monthly Vietnam update. In July 2025, the VN index surged by 8.8% in US dollar terms, decisively surpassing the critical 1,500 point threshold, a key milestone that underscores the market's strong momentum. This rally was primarily driven by the outperformance of real estate stocks, particularly Vingroup's flagship holdings VIC and VHM, which played a significant role in lifting the benchmark despite appearing significantly overvalued. Due to the AFC Vietnam Fund's value oriented investment approach, such stocks are excluded from our portfolio. As a result, the AFC Vietnam Fund recorded a more modest gain of 5.3%. Hi, my name is Andreas Vogelsanger and I am the CEO of the AFC Vietnam Fund. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel in order not to miss any updates. Thank you.
Have you ever wondered what that feels like?
Yeah.
When an entire economy just seems to click into a higher gear, when the market's surging and there's this real buzz in the air.
Yeah, that feeling of momentum.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, looking at the fascinating landscape of Vietnam's economy and its stock market. Specifically, this incredible surge we saw back in July 2025.
Right.
We've pulled together insights from, well, quite a few places. A detailed market report, data from Vietcap Securities, Bloomberg, Nandan News, SSI, Find Group, even government stats.
Good mix.
Our goal here, really, is to unpack what's driving this remarkable growth. Figure out where the excitement might be justified, and maybe where a little caution is needed, so you can walk away feeling, truly informed.
And what's really compelling, I think, is that we're looking at a period of just rapid transformation.
Yeah.
You've got these significant policy shifts, strong fundamentals, and they're hitting right at the same time as this wave of investor enthusiasm. It creates a pretty unique dynamic.
Okay, let's unpack that. One of the biggest stories in July, you basically couldn't miss it, was the surge in Vingroup stocks. VIC especially.
Oh, yeah.
It soared, 10.3%, closed at 105,500 VND a share. And that actually contributed a full 1% to the VN Index's overall gain.
Just from one stock? That's huge.
It is huge. And this massive jump, it was largely fueled by speculation, wasn't it, among local retail investors?
Mostly, yes.
The main buzz, the rumor, was that Vingroup might get awarded that massive north-south high-speed railway project, the USD 67 billion won.
Right, and it wasn't just sort of idle chatter either. The speculation really kicked up a notch when Vingroup created a new subsidiary, VinSpeed.
VinSpeed, okay.
Yeah, capitalized at 15 trillion VND, so about, 570 million US dollars. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Go on.
The funding. Vingroup's chairman, Pam Not Wrong, he personally funded VinSpeed, transferred 135 million of his own VIC shares.
Wow, okay, so not just company money.
Exactly. It's not just a capital injection. It's this massive personal commitment. It directly ties VIC, the core stock, to this railway project's potential. Psychologically, that's a powerful anchor for local investors, Shows real skin in the game from the top.
Yeah, that personal investment definitely adds weight to the speculation. Makes sense. But what else was lifting Vingroup? Because it wasn't just VIC, right?
No, you're right.
VHM, Vinhomes, their big real estate arm,
Yeah.
that jumped to 17.3%, added another 0.9% to the VN index.
Also significant.
And that seems supported by, actual news. Vinhomes announced a major urban development project, 277 hectares up in Bac Ninh.
Right. Set to start pretty soon, mid-August 2025. A big investment, too.
Right.
1.57 billion US dollars equivalent.
And then there were those other things,
Yeah.
government environmental plans, like banning petrol motorbikes in Hanoi.
Yeah.
That seemed to help VinFast's outlook.
Yeah, those are definitely clear tailwinds, government support, new projects. But, and this is important if we connect it to the bigger picture, despite all these positives, some analysts are still saying Vingroup stocks are, significantly overvalued.
Still, even with all this news.
It's a position they've held pretty consistently in prior reports, yeah. So it brings us to that critical point, doesn't it? How much of this surge is built on solid ground, on fundamentals, versus just pure speculative excitement?
That is the critical question, especially with analysts saying overvalued. But maybe for you listening, what are the signs? What specific things beyond just what analysts say might show that speculation is outweighing fundamentals in a case like this?
Well, you'd look for a few things. Price to earnings ratios, for example. Are they way out of line with historical levels or with competitors without a really clear reason for massive near-term earnings growth? That's one.
Okay, PE ratios.
And a big red flag, really, is when a stock's movement seems almost totally disconnected from actual news, when it's just driven by rumors or, social media buzz.
Right.
It suggests investors are acting more out of FOMO, fear of missing out, than a careful analysis.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. So, okay, thinking wider than Vingroup, what does all this mean for the whole market? The real estate sector itself was a big driver in July, right? Up 14.4%.
It was, yeah. A major force.
And that seemed mostly policy-driven. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh committing to fix those legal bottlenecks,
Yeah.
the ones holding up like 3,000 property projects.
Exactly. The goal was to clear out housing inventory, get the market moving again, and that policy signal definitely sparked some aggressive buying.
Among local retail investors again.
Predominantly, yes.
Yeah,
Led to sharp rallies, even some pretty distressed stocks. And there's one example that really stands out here.
Oh.
LDG, remember them? Company declared bankruptcy in 2024.
Right, yeah.
Their stock surged over 83% in July. 83%.
Wait, the bankrupt company, why?
Because its former chairman was released from jail?
Seriously, 83% because the ex-chairman got out of jail.
Yeah.
That sounds like something out of a movie.
Doesn't it? But it perfectly illustrates that speculative fever we were talking about.
Wow, it certainly does. But it makes you wonder then, how much of this real estate rally is actually sustainable versus just riding these, frankly, bizarre news moments?
That's the key question, isn't it? Look, policies like the PM's commitment, genuinely positive for the sector overall. But our assessment, looking closely, suggests only a select group, the fundamentally strong companies, are really set to benefit in a meaningful, long-term way.
So the weaker ones.
They'll likely keep facing big challenges, even with this temporary lift. But as LDG shows, the speculative mood has fueled this broad, almost indiscriminate rally, pushing up prices everywhere. It's a classic sign of, irrational exuberance. Investors are highly susceptible to hype. It's like a rising tide lifts all boats for bait, right?
Sure.
But the real question is which boats are actually seaworthy for the whole journey.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so beyond sectors, let's talk macro. A huge positive driver here seems to be the government's monetary policy. Very accommodating.
Absolutely key.
Credit growth hit 9.9% in the first half of 2025. That's a big jump from just 6% in all of 2024.
Massive jump.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It means over 57 billion US dollars, equivalent to like 13% of GDP, just injected into the economy.
Yeah, and you combine that with the government revising its inflation target upwards from 4.5% to 5.0%.
Right.
It signals a very deliberate policy choice favoring growth. They're okay with a bit more inflation to really push economic expansion.
And the result?
Well, Vietnam looks well positioned now to actually beat its own ambitious GDP growth target of 8.0% for 2025.
Wow.
And all that liquidity, it had to go somewhere first, right? It showed up in asset markets, especially equities, pushing the VN index decisively over that key 1,500-point mark.
Okay, and trading volumes reflected that too.
Oh, absolutely. Daily trading value jumped to $1.23 billion in July. That's way up from $680 million in June. And interestingly, it put Vietnam significantly ahead of regional peers like Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, according to Bloomberg data.
So not just a local surge in activity, but really standing out regionally?
Exactly. A real statement of liquidity strength.
Okay, so we've got easy money, we've got speculation. What else? New investors. The market's also been energized by this wave of new local individuals getting involved.
A huge factor.
The numbers are pretty remarkable, aren't they? Trading accounts went from 6 million end of 2022 to over 10 million by the end of July 2025.
That's more than 4 million new participants jumping in.
Incredible growth.
And it's such a contrast to the previous few years, like 2022 and 2024. Back then, even small gains in the index, maybe 10, 15%, often triggered immediate corrections. Why? Limited liquidity.
Right, not enough buyers to sustain it.
Exactly. But this current rally, it feels different. It seems like a genuine breakout supported by this mix of positive macro factors and these structural changes like the new investors.
So more staying power, potentially.
Potentially, yes. With this kind of broad participation and momentum, some analysts are now talking about the VN index possibly reaching 1,800 points in the near future. It suggests a broadening of the investor base, which could provide a stronger foundation, assuming, of course, the fundamentals keep up.
Okay, fundamentals, we'll get back to that.
Hmm.
But first, another potential game changer on the horizon.
Hmm.
The emerging market upgrade possibility.
Ah, yes, the FTSE Russell story.
Right. Big meeting, July 17th, 2025. Prime Minister Min Chin met with Mr. Gerald Toledano, a director at FTSE Russell in Hanoi.
A landmark meeting. First time a Vietnamese head of government officially engaged directly with a senior FTSE Russell rep like that.
Sends a strong signal, doesn't it?
Yeah,
About mutual commitment to speed up market development.
definitely. Now, no official timeline was announced, let's be clear.
Right.
But local investors, they're speculating maybe an upgrade as early as September 2025 or perhaps March 2026.
And what's fueling that optimism, besides the meeting itself?
Well, you saw foreign investors starting to come back. They'd been net sellers, big time $1.5 billion out in the first half of 2025.
Ouch.
Yeah. But in July, they flipped. Net buyers to the tune of $312 million.
Okay, a significant turnaround.
It is, and that renewed foreign interest, it strengthens local confidence. Plus, everyone knows an upgrade isn't just symbolic.
Though it triggers real money flow.
Exactly. Potential capital inflows estimated around 6 to 8 billion US dollars if that reclassification happens. That would provide really meaningful support to the market. It opens the door to a whole new class of funds that have to invest based on the index.
Makes sense. Okay, so lots of positive drivers, potential catalysts, but let's anchor back down. As you said, fundamentals matter. As long-term investors, you really want to look at the underlying strength, not just sentiment or technical.
Absolutely crucial.
And the fundamental picture looks pretty strong too, right? Q2 2025 GDP growth, 7.96% year on year. That was the fastest in the region.
Very robust. It really underscores Vietnam's ability to meet or maybe even beat that 8.0% growth target for the full year.
And they're not stopping there. Looking ahead, the government set even bolder goals, aiming for 10% GDP growth in both 2026 and 2027.
Ambitious, definitely. It reflects this deep confidence they have in the country's transformation, even with things like ongoing uncertainty around U.S. tariffs.
So what's driving that confidence at the government level?
Well, as we've noted in prior reports, a key structural driver continues to be Resolution 68.
Remind us what that is.
It's a major government initiative focused on things like administrative reform, improving the business environment, basically making it easier to do business and invest. It's consistently working to unlock Vietnam's huge domestic economic potential.
Got it. So structural reforms underpinning the confidence. And it's not just the big macro picture either. Corporate earnings have been impressive.
Very much so. According to data from SSI and Fine Group, listed companies saw profit growth around 20–25% year on year in Q2 2025.
Solid growth. Which sectors led?
Banking, exports, and public investment were the main drivers.
Okay, any specific examples stand out?
Oh, definitely. Lamdong Construction Materials and Minerals, LBM, posted a record quarterly profit, up 160% year on year.
Wow, 160%.
Yeah. And you saw strong results from export-focused companies, too. TNG up 39%, PTB up 40%. And Minh Phu Seafood, MPC, Vietnam's biggest shrimp exporter.
How'd they do?
Remarkable, a 250% surge in net profit.
250%. These are really tangible results, not just projections.
Exactly. These aren't just numbers on a government spreadsheet. This is real corporate strength shining through.
Mm-hmm.
And with this kind of performance across various holdings, plus the market itself rising sharply, nearing those all-time highs.
Yeah.
Well, many investment funds focused on Vietnam are feeling pretty confident. They believe they're on track to surpass their previous NAV peaks, their net asset value highs.
So their highest performance levels achieved before.
Right. It signals a robust recovery and real growth. It's evidence, really, of the fundamental strength underneath all the market excitement. Suggests this isn't just, a flash in the pan.
Okay, so pulling it all together, what does this mean for you listening to this? We've seen this really powerful combination, haven't we? Deliberate government policy pushing growth. A huge wave of new investor enthusiasm coming in.
Yeah, the liquidity effect.
And underneath it all, strong corporate performance, all fueling this market surge in July 2025.
It's a potent mix. But while there's clearly excitement, and like we just discussed, real fundamental strength, it's also undeniable that a degree of, speculative fervor has crept in.
Especially in certain pockets like real estate. We had LDG example.
Exactly. It highlights it perfectly, which really brings up an important question, doesn't it? How do you, as an informed observer, balance that thrill of rapid growth with the need for careful fundamental analysis when you're looking at these kinds of dynamic markets?
It's a tough balance. So as you reflect on Vietnam's incredible journey, maybe consider this. What role do you think investor sentiment, those speculative trends, actually play in shaping a whole nation's economic story, especially when you also have strong fundamentals in the background? And maybe more personally, how does understanding that interplay influence your own approach to reading market cycles and making informed decisions? Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.